From Mamamia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Em Vernon.
And I'm Laura Brodnick.
And it is our Weekend Watch episode.
Yes, our special episode that we release every Friday morning at 6 a.m. I don't know who's awake
Good morning.
then, but certainly not me. No, I know people get up and live their lives. Must be nice. Where we release that episode with the best new TV shows and movies that have just come out because we get a little sneak peek of everything before it goes out to the masses. And I have been dying to record this podcast with you.
I'm excited too because I feel like I've missed so many movies and TV shows because I have been overseas.
Must be nice.
On holiday.
Where'd you go?
I went to Vietnam.
Lovely.
And I was there for shorter than the time it took to get there.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go for those weekend trips. Like most it was on a plane, but still
It was
fun.
a long weekend. But also like when you go on a weekend, that's all my like TV movie times.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't watched that much TV and movies. So you're literally taking the reins of this podcast for this episode. But I am really, really excited to get back home and have my like little setup going.
Yes.
I've actually purchased I had to stock up my whole fridge because I've been away.
Oh,
so I had to
yeah.
get all my groceries, and I purchased Bundaberg's new Refreshingly Light range because the drinks are so good and they're perfect for when you're watching a movie or TV show.
Okay, so I have two recommendations. The first one is for a new TV show that has just come out this week on Binge, and it's called Mixtape.
You never forget the boy who makes you your first mixtape.
Oh, come on, man. Sorry. One dance, and I'll walk you home.
One dance, but you won't be walking me home.
Hey, I know when you're shutting me out.
Alison! You don't just up and leave home at 17 and we'll ship it back. She's not coming back.
Can I ask her all to raise a glass? My little Al.
I love you. No, I found her on Facebook.
We've been together for decades. You've never even mentioned her.
Christ's sake, Dan, ask her what bloody happened. It's decades ago.
Why are you in Sydney?
It really doesn't matter how hard I try, does it?
I wondered if he ever really got over you.
How do they know to come back?
We all make our way home eventually.
Mixtape.
Okay,
that
first
sounds
thing-
funky.
It is very funky. That's such a good way. I was like, I'm worried I sounded old, but then you said funky, and then now you sound old.
Okay, cut that out.
I guess a question I should ask first is that do you know what a mixtape is, and have you ever received a mixtape?
I've never received a mixtape. I feel like if I received a mixtape, that would be extremely problematic because that person would be much older than me.
Yeah.
Especially if I received
so
one.
retro they've gone back the other
So
way.
true.
How
It's-
some Gen Z now are like buying the old school Nokia phone so that they can call but not go online.
Yes.
Like we've come full
We've
circle.
come full circle. We're spending a lot of money over here. Is a mixtape, so is it like an actual like cassette tape?
Yeah, that's the original. So it's a cassette tape, and the idea was that you would like. It's the kind of thing that was like around a lot in like rom-coms and stuff, that you would make someone a mixtape with like songs that reminded them of you or songs that you wanted to know.
Oh,
So
like a Spotify playlist.
yeah. So the evolution is a mixtape and then a mixed CD.
Wait, how do you make one?
And now on a cassette player.
But how do you do it? Like, how do you put all the songs on it?
Oh, well, I guess back in the day, you'd have one of those like double cassette players where you put a cassette tape in one, a cassette tape in the other, and you can move it over.
Whoa.
Or you have to be listening to the radio.
Yeah.
I just wanted everyone to know that I wasn't alive for this, but I watch a lot of movies, so I know this happened. As a caveat, I'm really young. Is that you'd have to be listening to the radio. And if your song came on the radio, the cassette player was in there, you'd have to go record and then stop.
Wait,
and
you
then
can just do
the
that?
song. Yeah. And then so you record it off the radio. And so you had to be listening for your songs to come along. And that means that also you'd have all of your songs that you might have like a bit of a car ad or something.
Yeah.
in the middle.
And that was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Yeah. So you'd have those kind of tapes around. I remember like my mum had tapes of those that I like play as a kid where she taped it off the radio. And then the next thing,
I want a mixtape.
do you want me to make you a mixtape?
Yes. It sounds like a lot of work.
It is, because then it's very personal, because it's like the songs that you pick of someone. It's like what you want them to know. Like for you, I could pick cute songs about friendship. But then if you wanted to do it for a boy, you could pick songs about like hidden love.
Whoa.
Or, yeah. And it's a way to say it without saying it. So then you can make a mixed CD. And then I guess now you could send someone a Spotify playlist.
It's quite a dangerous game. My ex made me a Spotify playlist, and one of the songs was "How to Say I Love You."
Oh,
and then he broke up with me after.
Oh,
And I was like, oh,
I feel it's just a real mixed message.
a mixtape message for sure.
So this TV show is called Mixtape.
Oh yeah, we're talking. This is not a
And
dating
it goes-
podcast.
It's 4 hours and it's 4 episodes. So it's 4 hours long, roughly the length of the intro we just gave it. Okay, so Mixtape. It's got an incredible cast, including Jim Sturgis, Florence Hunt, who a lot of people would know from Bridgerton, Ben Lawson, but also friend of the pod, Teresa Palmer.
Yay!
Yes, who we
Wait,
love
is
in
it an
everything.
Australian?
It's an Australian-Irish production.
Wow.
So it follows 2 different timelines, and one of the timelines is set in the 1980s where Alison and Dan meet as like very love-struck teenagers.
Ooh.
And then there's also a timeline happening in the future where it shows that Alison and Dan, played by Jim Sturgis and Teresa Palmer, both went their separate ways after they fell in love as teenagers, and now they're both grown up and, you know, they're married to other people and have their whole other lives. And Dan is a music journalist and Alison is a best-selling novel. He lives in the UK, she lives in Australia, and then when in the first episode, Teresa Palmer's character is doing an interview about her new novel, and they're asking her about like when she lived in Sheffield. That's when she met him, and you can see that she's like very kind of taken aback and doesn't want to talk about what happened. And then as the series goes on, you kind of find out what happened to her in the past, what happened to their love story, how they might reconnect as adults, all kind of brought together by music, and it's really lovely.
It sounds like one of those like little love stories.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's definitely some dark parts to it, but it is one of those stories that's just like a romantic drama where it's just about like, it's about the characters, it's about the evolution of their story. Like there's no huge scary plot twists or anything like that. It's just a really beautiful watch. Super critically acclaimed when it first started getting shown at film festivals and events. It actually won the TV Spotlight Audience Award at South by Southwest this year. So it was like the one that everyone was like, this is the show to watch. And yeah, it's just really nice. I just had a lovely time. I sat down and watched all 4 episodes back to back.
Whoa.
And I love to like set the scene, and I had my candles lit and I had my fresh flowers. You can put something like Bundaberg's new refreshingly light range like in like a little crystal goblet or a wine glass and drink it while you're watching. And yeah, and I always love watching Teresa Palmer. I find she's such an interesting actress. So if you're on binge and you watch Mixtape, then go and watch her other new show, The Last Anniversary, that also came out this year, because they're both really good watches.
Oh, she's been doing some great work.
Yeah, so both based on best-selling novels, both on binge. Okay, on to the main event.
I'm jealous.
Well, that's what you get for being on holiday, isn't it? Don't worry, I'm going to set the scene.
Okay.
So this week, I went to the preview of a movie, which is out in cinemas now, that we have been waiting to see for such a long time.
The whole country has been waiting to see this movie.
The promo has been very good. So it's called Materialists. And the way you probably know it is that it's been billed as this big new love triangle movie starring Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
I love it. I hear him say his name, then I hear me say my name, my North Queensland accent. It's not cute.
Laura Rodnick.
Hey, are you single? I'm a matchmaker. Give me a call if you want to meet somebody. I deserve someone who fulfills all of my criteria.
Nothing over 20 BMI.
I don't want someone who likes cats. I'm trying to settle.
I promise you're going to marry the love of your life.
How many marriages are you responsible for now, Lucy?
9.
If the girl asks for a tall drink of water with a salary over 500 grand,
You deliver.
You're the matchmaker. You want a drink?
Sure. Coke and beer.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, John.
Definitely didn't expect to run into you tonight.
I missed you.
Yeah, you don't even remember my face.
Lucy M., the Eternal Bachelorette.
You can do better than me.
My instincts are usually right. Hi.
Wow. You know how to do the math, don't you? You are what we call a unicorn. An impossible fantasy. How much is this apartment?
12 million.
Not gonna marry him, are you?
Why not?
Because he's good looking and rich. Probably doesn't have roommates.
Is that my charger?
When I see your face, I see wrinkles and children that look like you. So where does that leave us?
What are you thinking about?
I don't think I'm very good at my job anymore.
we promise them love.
But the math doesn't add up.
Why does anyone even get married?
Because they're lonely. And because they're hopeful.
The marketing material for this, I should say, has been incredible because you have that very iconic poster, which is Pedro and Chris flanking Dakota on either side.
Yeah.
Pedro's wearing his very fancy tux. Chris Evans is wearing more of a cater-waiter outfit. And Dakota Johnson is in that beautiful, rich blue gown that's become sort of like the symbol of the movie. And then the trailer came out. And the trailer felt very kind of like old school early 2000s rom-com.
Yeah.
You know, like she's just a girl living in New York City,
And
living
she's
in the
like,
big
do
city.
I choose this hot man or this hot rich man?
And she's waking up in her beautiful big apartment. That is always the biggest lie that I think romantic comedies
Yeah.
told us. It wasn't about love, it was about real estate.
Mhm.
Because I always thought I was going to have a huge apartment in New York
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have to pay for it. That's a lie.
That's a lie. Carrie Bradshaw, hope you're listening.
Yeah,
You
started
liar.
this propaganda. So Dakota Johnson plays a woman named Lucy, and as I said, we're introduced to her. She's like in her beautiful New York City apartment. She puts on her gorgeous outfit, and she's walking through New York, and then she sees a hot man, and she locks eyes with him, and she says, "Hello, I'm a matchmaker, and we have so many matches for you." And she hands him her business card, and then she bops back along the street, and you learn that she's a matchmaker at an agency called Adore. So, do you know what a matchmaker is?
Ye-
I actually know a lot of people who have been married through matchmakers. It's a
Stop!
separate story. Yeah, it's a thing.
I thought it was like a fake job.
Oh my god, no! It's a huge
I thought
industry.
like dating apps took that away from them.
No, because matchmaking agencies is it's very high end, super expensive. Like not for people like us, will drain your savings, and that's why it matches people who are like quite rich. That's what it is. So it's cutting through like it's for people who don't want to put themselves on dating apps. Like they have a lot of money and they're used to paying professionals to fix problems for them, and that's where the matchmaker comes in. So especially Lucy being a matchmaker in New York in this movie, she's all about finding matches for people who have very specific kind of needs and a lot of money to pay her bills. So the movie starts with her going to
Wait, how do I get this job?
how do you become a matchmaker?
Yeah. I'd be
Or-
really good at
I
it.
think I think once you watch this movie, you might not want to be a matchmaker anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a noble job, and like I said, I know people who are married from it. Sometimes that's just what you do.
Wow.
The same way as using a dating app, but I don't think it's not all ribbons and love hearts.
Oh no.
So
It's a horror.
No, just wait.
Okay.
So Lucy is attending the wedding of one of her matches. So she's matched 9 couples and she's getting celebrated and it's all lovely. And then she gets to the wedding and she's she's like drumming up business and all this stuff. And then she gets seated next to the groom's brother, a multi-millionaire called Harry.
Is that Pedro
played
Pascal?
by Pedro
Oh.
Pascal.
Can I tell you my theory?
Sure.
My theory is that she jumps between Chris Evans and I don't know their names, Chris and Pedro, and then they start getting really annoyed at her and they're like, "Hey, you have to choose. And then she's like, I don't want to choose. And then they're like, we'll choose. And then they choose each other.
I mean, that's a great movie. I'm going to go out on a limb and just say that's not what happened. And I think,
Damn it.
I think the people...
Imagine like Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal as a couple.
I mean, I would love
I'd
to
love
see that
that.
movie. So she meets Harry and she's all wanting to like sign him up for her agency because he is what they call... This is where this movie really gets
He does not
into-
look like a Harry.
Yeah, well, Chris Evans' name in the movie is John, and he doesn't look like a John.
That's true.
And she's kind of looks like a Lucy, so we'll let that one slide. So she's trying to sign him up for the dating agency because he is what they call, and this is where the movie gets very into kind of like dating speak. It almost feels like it's a better movie than this, but he's just not that into you. You know how they bring it, that was based on a book, and that brings a lot of like dating lingo and like phrases or rules or like urban legends into the story.
Like can't call them after 3 days, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, this movie kind of weaves in a lot of that sort of stuff.
Got
So
it.
Pedro Pascal's Harry is what we call a unicorn because he's got a really good job, he's rich, he's tall, he's single, and he's looking for a woman to share his life with.
Oh!
And as they're meeting, Chris Evans' character, John, appears at the table.
Oh, and he's none of those things.
Well, he's tall and handsome.
Oh, yeah.
But he's in his late 30s. He's an actor who's still trying to break into the industry, and he's picking up shifts as a cater waiter just to earn a bit of money to pay for the terrible room he shares in a terrible apartment with like 3 other gross men.
Oh.
And so he appears at the table as Harry. I almost call him Pedro. Maybe I should just do that. As Pedro Pascal is hitting on Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans appears at the table with Dakota Johnson's signature drink, and that is because they have had a very long relationship and they've broken up and all this kind of thing. I won't go into it. So then the movie is very much around this question of like compatibility and why marriage is a contract, and also this question, I'm interested in your thought on this question of, do you marry, because marriage is a contract, do you marry the rich man who makes you feel valuable but who you don't have a spark with, but everything on paper is good? Or do you marry the poor man who you have a spark with, but nothing about it makes business sense? Because marriage is a contract at the end. Even if you're in love, you're still entering into a business arrangement.
That's such a good point.
That's what the movie wants you to tell.
Oh my God. And you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're Lucy, you're Dakota Fanning. You're Dakota Johnson.
I'd love to be Dakota Fanning in this situation.
Yeah.
Firstly, I would choose to marry the rich man.
Interesting. You know what? That's not a bad thing because, as they say in the movie, he makes you feel valuable.
Yeah, he's
and
not a bad
feeling
guy.
valuable is a very important part of you feeling like a human and feeling like you matter.
Also, sparks die, right? And like, as you said, they did break up for a reason. For a reason to deal with that has to deal with material objects, as the name of the movie would suggest. So here's the interesting thing about Materialist is that when the movie poster came out, when the trailer came out, and we saw who the leads were, Dakota and Pedro and Chris, everyone was like, yes, this is the rom-com I've been waiting for. And to be fair, the movie, like the promo for the movie did make it look like a rom-com. It's like it's Dakota Johnson in the big city torn between these 2 handsome men, and she's going to fall madly in love with one of them. This movie is not a rom-com. Oh.
It's a romantic drama.
Oh.
It's not a rom-com at all.
Oh my God.
It's a romantic drama.
Will I be crying?
And potentially, and at some points, it feels like a horror movie.
What?
If you're currently in the dating pool, which
you know I am.
I know, me too.
Oh my God.
Can I tell you, I was so thrown and so just in my head about this movie as I left that I walked home, and when I got home, I'm like, why am my feet in pain, and why did that take so long? Because I don't live that far from the movies, as you know. And I had forgotten to like take my heels off from the premiere and put my walking shoes on, which I normally do. I had just stomped through the streets of Sydney late at night in my heels, and I didn't even put my headphones in to like listen to music or anything. I was just so like in my head about like, what does this mean, and what do I think, and what does that mean? Like it really kind of puts all these tough questions.
It just making like I'm so keen to watch it because when I came to the office today, like so many people here at Mamamia went to watch it, and one of our entertainment writers, Tara Watson, I think she said something similar to you. She was like to me, she's like, it's gonna make you spiral, and I'm like, oh.
Okay, so the setup is really, really good. So you see Lucy, Dakota Johnson, going and meeting with all her different clients, both men and women, and what they are saying they want in a relationship, it's just so sobering of like, oh, there's no one out there and I'm not anyone's ideal because my age is wrong, my height is wrong, my face is wrong, my personality is wrong. And this is so transactional, and it's just become, and like the older you get, the like, especially as a woman, like there's just no men out there for you to meet. And if you're a different size, there's no men out for you to meet. And it's so bleak. Literally in those first few minutes, I had my 2 wines, as you know, I had my popcorn, and I was all ready. I was all in for the movie, and I was sitting there and my heart was beating so fast.
Oh my God.
Because I was like, this is the worst part. This is like this throwing this big spotlight. This movie that masqueraded as a rom-com is throwing this huge spotlight over what this idea that what your worth is, what it means to find love, how much of like a rat race it is, like it's the Hunger Games, how much you only have a tiny window to be someone's ideal, how transactional it is, and just how bleak it'll be if you, as Dakota Johnson says in the movie, she's like, it's this or die alone.
Oh my God,
and you're like, yeah, I don't know. It's really, and the thing is, no one should have gone into this thinking it was a rom-com, because despite some of the marketing, because it's written and directed by Celine Song, an incredible filmmaker, one of my absolute favorite filmmakers at the moment, Oscar nominated, her first movie, Past Lives. Like this, I've made me feel a lot like watching Past Lives.
Yeah, I heard it's very similar. The like pace of it.
Yeah, just how like she's
and also Past Lives, if you haven't watched it,
incredible,
amazing movie.
Oh, and should I say Materialists, incredible. I actually loved it. It hit me really hard, but it's meant to.
Yeah, it did its job.
Exactly. Like again, she's not trying to tell a frothy rom-com. She's trying to like get in your heart and soul and in your head with this storyline and these characters. And so I think going into it, because Past Lives is like her first film and Materialist is on the same vein, and like Celine Song was just never going to write a rom-com.
Yeah.
But again, the poster's so pretty.
It's so nice.
So it's just, it's really interesting of like, you see her sort of like go between these 2 men, but then there's also the clients that she works with and like what's happening in their lives. And it just really kind of, I don't know, builds to this really interesting ending. And I'd say like, it's the kind of thing, I would say go and see it at the movies. Like, obviously you can watch it when it comes on streaming, but I almost feel like it's a good one to go and like really immerse yourself in. You could go by yourself and just have like a solo movie date. And
I'll just be calling you going,
and just take it all in. But it's also a really, really good movie to like, if you can go and see with like a bunch of your girlfriends.
Okay.
And then don't all rush off, go to drinks or something afterwards, because you're just going to want to like dissect this movie like crazy. Oh, I want to talk about the ending so bad.
Okay. Without spoiling the ending,
Yeah.
give me some adjectives to describe your feelings.
Okay. Romantic.
Okay.
A cop-out. No, that's my personal opinion.
Okay.
And it's like hopeful and really sobering at the same time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know. I think a lot of people I've talked to either loved or hated the ending. People are very intense about it.
Okay.
When I say cop-out, I just mean like, I thought we weren't making a rom-com, Celine, but sometimes we almost veer into making a rom-com. I just find it so interesting. I know. I guess if enough people see it, if enough spillers want to talk about it, we could do a really honest review.
Because I think like the ending of Past Lives just destroyed everyone.
Oh, destroyed.
Yeah.
This is not quite that, but it really just like, and the build up to it and everything, and it just really makes you question love and romance and everything, but also makes you want it even more. Yeah.
Oh,
Celine Song, what are you doing to us?
What is she doing?
I know. Anyway, Materialists, it's out now. I mean, look, if you just love Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans, also Chris Evans, great actor. People have been really shitting on him since he left Marvel, because after he left Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he and Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson all left at the same time.
Yeah.
And Scarlett Johansson nominated for 2 Oscars straight after, directing her own movie, critically acclaimed. Robert Downey Jr. won an Oscar, critically acclaimed. Chris Evans, not doing well, got married to a younger woman that people got really angry about.
It's only because his ex is Jenny Slate.
Yeah.
And we thought he was a different kind of guy. I'm just saying, we all did.
His brother did a podcast the other day. Were you telling me this? His brother did a podcast the other day saying that Chris Evans couldn't find love for so long because so many people shitted on him for his girlfriends and then were mean to his girlfriends. So the man's been through a lot.
He's
anyway,
been through so much.
He left Marvel.
It's hard being a really attractive white man.
Hard being an attractive white man.
He's really rich.
Can someone give him a chance? So anyway, This is the first time after he's left the Marvel Cinematic Universe that people are like, oh, you're a real actor. You're a good actor. And he does really well in
That's
it.
so nice. But he should also go back.
Yeah, no, he hates people asking him that. You could see at the Materialist premiere, like he was being asked, would you go back to Marvel? And his soul just left his body.
Oh,
So
no,
anyway,
it's like when you ask Robert Pattinson about Twilight.
Yeah. So Materialists is at the cinemas now. Go and see it and then talk to us about it. I'd love to do a brutally honest review if enough people see it.
Oh my God, I'm excited.
Okay. Anyway, a very love and drama filled episode of Weekend Watch with our 2 recommendations today. Love is in the air.
Both yours. I was just here as a listener.
I loved it. You're a great listener.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to The Spill today. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok at The Spill Podcast. The Spill is produced by Manisha Iswaran with sound production by Scott Stronach. Mamamia Studios are styled with furniture from Fenton & Fenton. Visit fentonandfenton.com.au. And we'll be back here on your podcast feed at 3 p.m. today. Bye.
Bye.